Hi guys, it's been hell, but we're not going to get into that. I actually want to run this story because it's so weird. At first I thought maybe it was another one of those stories where the celebrity had a bunch of people in his little pack, and like one of them did something bad and used his car and did these things. Because there's lots of stories like that where these guys just run amok and it's not actually the main person that owns the car. So I kind of just sat back with it. But somebody brought up something else interesting. I don't know how true it is. It was posted in the India Times. So it was something that was posted on social media that people were paying attention to. It's very strange. So she was a minor. Allegedly, they were saying she was 13 when she went missing. There's a lot of questions with their family, whoever was taking care of her at the time. And so she would be with a guy named David, and nobody knows who he is and ages, and nobody cares that adults keep going after kids. And apparently, we're supposed to be cool with this. But apparently, she went missing, and I think it was in 2024. And then her body gets discovered out here in a vehicle. And some of the neighbors allegedly were saying they seen that vehicle there for a little while and it was just parked in weird places. And I'm just thinking, man, if you had a body, okay, I'm just saying none of us hopefully ever do this kind of crap, but wouldn't you be really scared that somebody's going to find that and you would not want to be driving the car around everywhere or leaving it out in the open? I just find this type of action to be very strange just on its own, right? I don't understand it. Maybe I don't know how long she was deceased. If she was missing since such and such date, I don't know if it's a thing where there's like human trafficking. And brought her over here, and then at some point in time, then she passed away. We don't know how she died. Like, yeah, sure, it could be an overdose, but again, some adult male somehow got a hold of her. So it's already a crime on its own. Is it a murder case? Probably. I would consider a murder if somebody gave somebody drugs and they died. So just some things in the story. So now they bring up this thing and they showed it and I'm like, that's hella weird. And it might just be because he's another R. Kelly and he has a nut. So what he could do is, I don't know how long he's known this other girl that they're bringing up, but when you bring up the name, they can go, oh no, it's her and she's 22. I don't know. But they said, are there two Celestes in the singer David's case? And strange theories surfaced over death in 15-year-old teen. So somebody did this clip. And they go, with no breakthrough in the case, the teen whose body was found in a Tesla discarded by a singer. Conspiracy theories have surfaced. I wouldn't exactly call this a conspiracy theory. It's just a theory. I wouldn't call it conspiracy because if they're like legit is another girl named Celeste and she's around and looks a lot like her, it's just going off based on the facts that are seen right now, and it's somebody's theory. Like they're just like, well, maybe this is that. They're not saying it as a fact. They're saying maybe this is going on. I just don't find that to be to the level of like a QAnon theory where it's just like in a pizza place with like nothing to go on, right? It's more like we went through this case and it's strange and we seen this and to bring it to attention. The strangest of all is the spread on social media claiming that there are two Celestes and everything got mixed up in this very confused case. That he did not issue any statement. Okay, so Celeste is the teen reported missing from Lake Elsinore. Well, that's out here, right? I'm totally confused. Like, I was reading a couple things. But anyway, she was missing since April 5th. Her remains were found in his Tesla September 8th. This is like a year later. I mean, past a year later. They didn't just, like, it's so strange. Like, they didn't try to discard her. They just wanted to keep her close. Like, what the hell, right? There's still something strange with that. And so the mother confirmed that she had a boyfriend named David. And that's technically his name. And the teen even had the same tattoo as the singer. Okay. Some videos appeared on social media showing David with Celeste, but here comes a twist. As many pointed out that the Celeste who appeared on video with David is a different one. And so I had to watch this because I was like, well, let me see what was going on here.
Why are there two Celestes in this mysterious and tangled story? Celeste isn't just one person. She has two faces. The first Celeste is 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. When her body was found, she had a "shh" tattoo on her arm. Through her family's confirmation, the police learned that she had a boyfriend named David. The second Celeste is 23-year-old Celeste Herrera, who frequently interacts with David on social media. Strangely, she not only shares a similar name with the first Celeste, but also bears an uncanny resemblance in appearance and temperament. Why do so many coincidences exist? One possibility is that he had developed an obsession with the younger Celeste. The photos and tattoos hint at a once sweet relationship, but something terrible happened, and he could never see the younger Celeste again. So he's searching for the next substitute. The older Celeste's appearance seems like fate sending him a stand-in. With the same name and similar looks, she perfectly fills the void left behind. She not only becomes his next target, but also helps blur the public's perception. When people hear Celeste, they subconsciously confuse the two very different individuals. If all of this is intentional, is the older Celeste truly safe?
Well, no, she wouldn't be. But I don't know when she came in. Like, they're pointing out a social media thing where there is this other girl, and she looks similar, and she has interacted with them. I cannot verify because I didn't go through the story, but I'm assuming that's true because they're showing a video. But in which case I was like, well, how long had they known each other? Because I don't know if she's used as like a cover dummy. But also, yeah, it could be because his obsession with a minor, and then that. So no, I wouldn't exactly call it a conspiracy theory. It's questioning what they're finding, and if that's true, that's hella weird. And so, yeah, as I was reading the comments, like, so far, they're like, it's not a murder investigation yet because we don't have proof that she was killed. We just need to see how she died. And then, okay, but why is he running around with her in her car? There's something weird. The psychology to that. That's why I was like, okay, wait a minute. Because in a lot of these cases, if you guys, following, my stuff or any, crime show or any weird thing, typically they want to get rid of the body. They don't want to be caught with this person. So, if it's been a long extended period of time, they had plenty of time to dispose and try to cover up. Why would somebody keep the body in a vehicle and leave it out on the street and be cruising around in it? The psychology. That is an effed up person. That's a really effed up person. And then just let it get towed, and they're like on shore, and they're just kind of like, nonchalant, I don't know, dude, that thing right there, someone's very ill in the head. That went on. But they didn't tell us, like, how long she died. Like, did she die on April 5th? Like, if she died on April 5th, like, way back when, I would almost think that there wouldn't be as much evidence of them to identify right now, I would think, for that long extended time. Because you're talking about a deceased person for a year and something. Since I'm not in that field, I can't say how long decomposition would, I would almost think there would, I don't know. I was like, I don't know, but I don't think it would be that easy. We'll put it like that. But second, like, why would you want to be so close? So it could be that she was alive for an extended period of time, and then at some point in the, past couple months or whatever, something happened. And then it would mean that he kidnapped her because she was missing. And so in this point, then somebody got kidnapped and then is deceased. But I don't want to jump to conclusions because I was thinking, well, maybe he had a pal here, using his car, because they're like, we're going to go look around and question this thing. Because it totally could have turned into that. Like, one of his buddies, hooked up with this, minor, and he gets to use his car because they're all pals, and then did this thing, and then he didn't have knowledge of it. That could happen, or you would have knowledge of it, but nobody's going to turn each other in. It could turn into that thing. But yeah. That case right there, like, is the having her in the car thing for the whole time is throwing me off. I'm just like, okay, the psychology to this person is going to be different than the average that we go through. As far as like keeping the dead body closed. So it's like, okay, Norm, it's just, I'm shaking my head and it's like, I don't know. And then get the car towed. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just too much. It's too much. I'm just going to go on tour, you know? Leave it in. Somebody got the car towed. I don't know how it got towed. I just know that the neighbors were like, yeah, that car's been just like hanging out here for a while. And, you know, it's kind of strange. I moved around a little bit. And then I was like, yeah, they just leave it out in the open. The level of that, like, it's just, I'm just sitting with it. I'm like, that is, And then they found another body in another vehicle at a tow yard, and they're like, oh, it's not connected. It's like, oh, well, how many of these men keep tossing our bodies in a tow yard, in a car, in a vehicle, and none of you guys ever catch it, you know? Would you have caught it if it didn't go to the tow yard, right? No. Then we have the recent shooting of, you know, a figure that, you know, a lot of people did not like. And what I was saying about it was, you don't have to like the guy. You could literally hate the dude. But we should never cheer that on, because the reasons for it isn't what you think, even though they want to turn it into a political, like, arena thing. The individual had some issues, obviously issues from their early family life. They were talking about the family thing. I go, we literally could lay it out. Like, there's going to be some military thing in it. There's going to be something. And it wasn't allegedly him in the military. Is the dad is a cop and the mom. It was crazy. I was like, yeah, but you could literally lay it out. Like, you know what's going to be in it. And then it's going to entail an upbringing that is abnormal, and regardless of any political side, because all of us did. A lot of us, a huge majority of America, does not even know who the guy is who got shot and killed. Okay. Republicans love that guy to death, and they were trying to make him really big and famous. Okay. So it was like that. But regardless of that, you don't want to promote some off-kilter white guy to go shooting up the place, because we have this as a #1 problem in America. And they keep trying to detour it away from the fact that white men have mental health issues that need to be tackled very early. And regardless of what, because a lot of us, again, did not like that guy. But I would hope that nobody thinks, oh, you know what, we should just go and shoot him. That's a different mentality. And they didn't go after him because of the reasons of us, like, disagreeing with them, you know, or anything like that. They were just saying, like, he started to, I guess he was dating a transgender, something weird. But anyway, that's not an excuse. That doesn't explain, let me tell you, that does not explain why he would choose to do an action like that. The choice to do an action like that also entails a level of being self-harm. We'll put it like that. So, and it's not just depression. Like, they have overlooked this psychology quite a bit and going, oh, the guy's just depressed, and they turn out to be a psychopath. It's quite intricate, because it's like, we've all probably you have a moment of depression, because that's just human nature. You also disagree with a lot of these people's stances on things, but you don't go and decide, I'm going to throw away my life and put myself at risk for death and go just shoot this guy for possibly even notoriety towards the end of the thing. I think it's another thing to sympathize with some of the shooters. I think what they're I think, in my opinion, I think they're just sympathizing with the emotional thing that they were going through. And so then here's the family. So you look at the family unit and what's going on right here, and you can see that they're totally detached. You can see they're emotionally detached, and then they're basically just running off like the typical, my son should be violent and shoot guns, and you know, that whole same thing that women don't typically get, but his mom was involved in that. So, and that was a concern, is that you don't want females getting the same feed that these white men are getting, because they'll be coming out the same way. And you know, in some of these cases, they've come out really effed up, but that's not the overall problem in America. So The overall problem in America is entitled white men having these issues and just randomly shooting up the place. As you see with the CEO thing, again, you could dislike the healthcare system and things like that, but who the hell goes and does that? That's a very specific issue right there. So it didn't matter if he's Republican or Democrat or any of those things. It's your kids that you're creating, the public, having those issues and not tackling them before the age of 20. By age of 20, it's too late. We keep saying it's too late. There's like literally no cure for these PDs. I don't know why it seems to be a joke, or like when they're talking about some of these issues, like some go, well, it's not a mental health issue. It absolutely is. And if they're not identifying it as it is, that's why you're not catching them at all. I mean, that's really the thing with that mental health community. I go, that's a disorder. That's a disorder. It's not like schizophrenia where you need medication, but they could have these things too. It's a disorder that's mostly created by the environment that they're in and something that society has deemed as normal, and it's not normal. It's typical, and we see it all the time, but again, you never know which way they're going to go with it, because they could go shoot up the place, they could go do domestic violence, they could do just thieving, they could do a lot of different things with those same issues. It's just the way they're tackling it is to, let's disregard the white men having this major issue. Let's also just focus on guns. And I'm like, well, guns wasn't the thing that caused them to do that. So you have to really dissect that initial home life and how you could have came in to ward that off. There's a lot of problems with them. There's another family, same bullshit, where they were like, oh, he was just trying to be cool with his friend, showing all his arsenal of guns at age 13. So he gets arrested, right? And the parents totally brush it off like it's just an everyday thing and they're overreacting. And he didn't actually shoot up a school. He was, first of all, this kid shouldn't have this arsenal of guns. It was like a whole like rack of like, I don't know. It was crazy. And the parents are just like, meh. So that is part of neglect as well. And so he started making threats that he's going to bomb people and kill, go to the school or say, he was making these threats, okay? And they're like, he's just trying to be cool for his friends, showing them all their guns. And I'm just sitting here going, oh, gee, I don't know. I can't figure out why your sons are a violent piece of shit. Your parents, deeper into the home life, because that would not have happened. I was like, if they didn't encourage this. If your son is feeling that way, or your daughter, there hasn't been many daughters going on like that. But if your son's going on like that, it's time for a head doctor, because what's happening at home in their unit, he is having problems and no one's tackling it. Yeah, how cool is it to show your friends guns? My friends would be like, stay away from me. Like, if I had this like whole arsenal of like, you guys, I'm just trying to get like the approval of my friends. If my friends are approving of this, then they're probably pretty shit too, and probably also need to go to a therapist. But that's what they were trying to like go on. I go, yeah, the parents are completely idiots. And then next, this story came up. And I go, oh, here's another group of them. It's so easy now to see it because we've been dissecting the issue with these dudes for a long time, for like a decade and a half or so. And again, I'm a victim of violence about a million times over. So I know the perpetrators and like their mindsets and like what they did and how they think. And being kind to them actually can set you up to be a good target to them. And I'm actually sick of seeing Dolly Parton. I was like talking about this actually on this other thing. And I go, she obviously has never been a victim of crime multiple times over to put that shit out here all over the place. And it has no line. And I would like to propose her to eat her own words and write and find the good in Hitler, because that's what she's saying. And I was like, you know what? I was like, if you posted that on social media, your ass is going to get banned right away. Should it be banned? No, but we do not promote that. But that's what they're saying. So I go, okay, so eat your own words and tell us in the public what was the good in one of the worst people in history. And let's see how far that goes. And I was just like, there's just some people, there's no good in them. Is it their fault? Typically, no. Originally, as a kid, no. But there is no good in them. Like, they're not good people, and they're in prison half the time. But, you know what I mean? It's just, there's some people, and she obviously hasn't been out in the world much other than with their rich pals and shit to meet these horrible humans. And there's nothing to make it better. There's nothing good in it. But there is something to learn by it. So educationally, and you don't want to tell me to go look for the good in these monsters, because that's exactly how we got reoffended. You know, these crimes, the reoffending, you talk about Stockholm syndrome, you talk about domestic violence, where they keep coming back because they keep seeing the good in the guy, and then the rest of them is total shit, or vice versa. And so I was like, it's such a terrible messaging. And I go, if you look at it, if it was just on like the topic, say somebody's a transgender, somebody's homeless, and you need to find, I don't know, some bullshit. And you just need to treat people that are different, whatever. And some typical like guy that goes around burglarizing places and he's trying to be better and he's such a fuck up. We're not talking about that. It was for everyone. And I'm driving and I'm thinking about a million people that did these horrible things to me. I don't need to find the good in those pieces of shit. I don't. And it's so out of touch, and it's such a horrible messaging, and it's so mean. There's a level of meanness in it where if I'm not being nice to the terrible people, she's going to be a piece of shit to me. And there was a lot in her story where I was like, oh, no wonder she like acting stupid up in here. So I found the psychology of her. I had to, because for a woman to come out here and try to say that she was never a victim to any of this bullshit is just bullshit. But in her story, she basically was acting like the men that we're complaining about. And I go, oh, she's more of a perpetrator type than it would be on the opposite spectrum. So yeah, therefore, then she would see no issue with it and tell us to hang out with them. And that's where she comes from. And I seem to be the only one okay with going at her. Apparently, like, she's just like sacrilegious. I don't know, like, you can't touch her or something. Otherwise, the horrible white people will come at you because, she's like a god or something in fucking Hillbillyville. And I was like, you need to understand, we ain't talk about her music. We ain't talk about her movies, because she's great in all those things, okay? And I used to watch her as a child. We're talking about her on a human level where she's being idiotic. And I think it's really important to critique these things because it's just so out of touch. And it correlates to this story because then she cuddles the men who have the mental health issues that then go out and do these crimes. And it could be shooting up the place, raping women, any of those things. So she's the one that goes out. You need to find the good in that guy. And you need to just find a way to love him. Okay, so she's spreading that kind of shit. And so for me, I have an issue with it. So, and I'm explaining why. And not even just solely on me, like, oh, let me not forgive them. Or find the love in that, whatever the crap, But you're talking about serious mental health issues among men. And there's a reason why it's being created. We know the reason. We legit know the reason. The problem with this is men and women like her do not want to change the way they're being. It's not about guns. If it was, it would be the easiest thing. Just, you don't let kids get them. You don't do this thing, and it should stop, right? We know that's not going to happen. You should be able to be in a room with somebody that has a million guns and not worried that they're going to go shoot up the place, right? So, when you tackle the mentality of that human, you're not going to do it. And it's really easy to understand this when you look at yourself. Would you ever do that crime? Hopefully the answer with most of y'all out here is a big fat no. But break it down in your head of why you would not do it. These are the things lacking in these individuals. And it's sad. There's nothing good in it. It's sad because it's preventable. It's preventable at a very young age, not later, young age. And we're having issues with this. So then they want to start fighting about not letting kids go to therapy or some bullshit. The same people that want to force a Fitbit on everybody in America, no. And another problem that we have is finding child abuse, and that's part of that thing right there. When they do that, it makes it a little easier where they could possibly identify the child abuse much earlier than us all coming out 20 million years later going, oh, we got abused, and them blowing it off and, saying all kinds of stupid crap because they're all a hot mess. But yeah, so when you can get them early and get the kid talking to some other adult when the parents are not around, then they can identify those issues. And where you get the dumb parents that are like, my son's just trying to fit in, some crap like that. Well, there's a problem here, right? There's a neglect problem. There's some other shit going on. And so if the kid was talking about this to another adult, then that adult should be able to identify that and go into that home. Whereas if they don't allow that to even happen, then you don't know what's happening, right? And then these kids going out doing those things. That's one area where they could try to attempt to tackle that very early on. What else can I say about it right now? Not much, but to just disregard the human that did it is just as idiotic as the people celebrating it. So it's not, oh, this is a toss away person, we're looking away from the problem, and let's move on. We're not like them. No, you help create that person in multiple ways. So I'm just pointing it out, and it's serious. So we're all controversial. We should never promote it because somebody could do that to me. Somebody could do that to you. And it's not really based on what I'm saying, or it's a different mentality. There's a lot of in it.